Hey, I'm Bill Shire. I've been filming wildlife for 40 years. And as we go through life, we meet people that make lasting impressions on us. Well, I met one, and this is the guy, Mr. Herman Duff Holbrook. Back in 1950, he was in charge of the restock program in South Carolina from Francis Marion National Forest on the coast to the upper part in the Midlands of South Carolina to restock turkey, deer, and coons. I met Mr. Holbrook back in the 80s. He had a slideshow presentation that he was more than happy to show anybody what his project was about, whether it be church groups, students, or hunting clubs. Being an avid sportsman, I felt it necessary to tell the story how wildlife preservation originated in South Carolina. One day I asked Mr. Holbrook if he had ever been videoed, and he said no. I said, would you like to try it? And he said, sure. Come on over to the house next week and we'll do it. And this is his story.
That's Rubbish asked me one day, what did he say is on song? What did you do? What did I sing one day? And I said, then he stepped up out of Palmer Creek's on the room, walked over there. I was there and he looked for that turkey. And he said, cut! And I said, cut! Turkey just ducked his head. That governor just walked right home to me. Got where I wanted him to raise his head. Put him in his rug in his pocket. He says, Herman, everybody can do it. First, South Carolina Wildlife Public Hunt. South Carolina Wildlife never had no deer right there on that driveway. And I had picked out old 6'8" first class stand. And then my archery buddies and all said, well, I gotta have a place. So I gave them all away. Then I told Matthew that West said, West, I'm getting no hunting places where I haven't got none. He said, Captain, since you go to Morgan Branch, buy that little field over there and get those little low live oaks for a good shot. Okay. So I did. I got there, and the first thing that happened that morning was that buck walked at me. And I cut his backbone.
You killed every curve.
Yeah, with that bear puller. First deer on the first public hunt. And you betcha I caught hell, Bill. You think I caught hell about that? You think that they accused me of having West having a deer in a trap and me shooting him in the trap? Here's the deer trap that you're talking about. And here are the transfer cases. This was before we started going in the trap and getting the deer out. So we run them in a transfer case and tag them. And had a little door at the top, tag them and put them in the truck buckets. But that got too slow, so we went faster than that. And then we couldn't go fast enough because we had two trucks, and we were catching the deer faster than that. And so that fellow up on top there, he was from Belmont. They'd always had plenty of money down there. So they took care of the politicians and all the fancy hunters and all that kind of stuff down there. It's what they call the Web Center nowadays. All right, so he built a truck for us to put in there, and that would carry the equivalent of 6 pickup truckloads. We filled that thing up a couple of times. That's when they stopped us because they were afraid we'd catch too many deer. We weren't down bed. Those guys that walk on the sidewalk in those cubicle offices up there in Columbia think they know best. You know? And that honeysuckle, that's what those deer got so heavy on that. Well, we stopped them upstate. Now this little guy, this is quite a story behind him. Matthew was disking field early mountain. And this little guy got up in front of the tractor. And Matthew Jr. was there. He picked him up. And Matthew went ahead, just the whole thing. And I came by and took some pictures of him. He was very interesting, and he wasn't at all panicked. He wasn't scared of us at all. And then when he got the field all disc, he came out of it and got on down the inside and took that little fella and put him right there where he got up from. Put him down there. That little fella walked over the blackberries. And laid down. Old West was big that day. He wanted to see what that doe would do when she came out. While she came down across that big cloud field. He said, Captain, I didn't hear, but you had to say something because two little phones got about with blackbirds and walked through her. And she checked them over real carefully and she let them away. That deer was panicked, running hard, trying to get away from something. You see that patch of fur right there by that track? Mm-hmm. That patch of fur over there? I was being knocked out of that deer. That deer couldn't get away. Well, you see some turkey tracks. Well, Matthew came to me and said, Captain, there's a deer over in so-and-so field, and he was caught him and eaten. I went over there and I took pictures of him. And the way those eagles, that golden eagle was golden eagle. We had a lot of golden eagles and we had a high population of turkeys. And that golden eagle killed that deer by sticking those talons in through those ribs there and putting a hole into the rib cage, and when the deer was sucking his breath, air would go in and out of there and he smothers. So you don't have to break a neck or anything. All you got to do is punch a hole in that rib cage and then hold it down. That's how much they eat.
Right.
Actually, that's a timber rat. I got that one out of the mountains.
He's got a lot of yellow to it. So.
Yeah. It's the canebrake's first cuss. This is the little thing little poem that I wanted to tell you guys. By R.L. Sharp, Builders for Eternity. To each is given a set of tools. You, with your imagination, with your capabilities, that's your set of tools. And a shapeless mass, that's the future where you don't know where you're going to be working, see? And a book of rules, and each must make ere life is flown a stumbling block or a stepping stone. And I told them, that's when I told them, my old project was a stepping stone. Planted in a new field, then well fertilized and top dressed, and that's a ton of jupiters per acre in that field. Like that. And this is a before and after picture. This is the before. This is after the turkey's got them scratching them up. If you're going to grow jupiters, you've got to control the raccoons.
Yeah, they all tear them up too.
And, so we trap the raccoons, we put earbobs in them, we hold them, and guys would come down from Travelers Rest in Greenville or somewhere with their box and take them back up there and turn them loose. Eddie Finley, the guy that started the South Carolina Wildlife Magazine, he wanted all this information, and he could handle it, and he had clerical help and everything, and I was too damn busy to do all that part of it. So I turned over the numbers and the dates to him and the location. And there's all those raccoons the turn loose up there. They were on their way back to the coast. They got their tags turned in, except for one. That would be turned loose in Abbeville County. And a year and a half later, he was killed 70 miles southwest of Atlanta in a fox set.
So they were traveling that far?
Yeah. And I said that he just hit Chattahoochee River card, and he went through Atlanta on that card, and he was headed to Apalachicola. He really got lost. The kind of right-of-ways that we made, we planted them pasture all the way across. We just had 2 wheel ruts down the high part. Then later on, they started putting stone on, and this was planted in this edges. These fences were planted in brown top on this one from the pasture. Most of them planted in clover. Prescribed burning gives you that open aspect. Gives the turkeys all the advantage because they got the best eyesight in the woods. And you got to find a hole to crawl into if you want to call a turkey who's gobbling off. Prescribed burn because it improves the nutrition, palatability of the forage plants. It improves the assortment of plants in there, the beggar picks and the partridge pea and that kind of stuff. So that's what you burn that. And also stuff like little bush acorns, chinkapins, and so forth. White oaks and red oaks. The white oaks produce their acorns on the current year's wood. That includes live oak, white oak, post oak, overcup oak, all the white oaks. And the current year's wood produces acorns. Scarlet oak, turkey oak, those are the red oak. Those acorns are produced on last year's. You got to cut away this year's wood so that you can see where the acorns are. So when you leave mast capability, you've got to cover both essentials. That's close. You get a bad spring, and one of them fails, you still got a half a crop. And this is a southern red oak. No burn. You don't burn your hardwoods if you want to take good care of them and produce a lot of acorns. Chinkapin. I had a buddy in Montana I was fishing with a guide out there on the Yellowstone. And we were talking about good things to eat. I was telling him about how good chinkapins were. And he said, send me some. So I came back and I gathered up about a quart and a half of them. I sent him a quart. I kept about half a quart in a sieve on the kitchen cabinet there for a couple of days. And I'd sent him that quart. And he got them, every chinkapin in there had a weevil larva in it. And I wondered over the years how many pounds of weevil larvas I had eaten.
Good protein.
Yeah, sure, it's good protein. But I used to be able to just put them in my mouth, pop them, pull them out, and spit the clothes out the window of the truck. Favorite food, gotta have these blackberries and blueberries. That sure puts the pounds on the little turkeys and gives them a fast start on the big insects that they catch, the bee bumpers and grasshoppers. Grass seed, crabgrass, bullgrass, panic grass, all these things are favorites. And those turkeys reach there and they grab that thing at the bottom, put their head sideways, and some of the seed flies, and they get most of it. They eat a whole mass of seeds, like I was reading here in this here. Somebody took the time to count some of those 400, 500, and 600 seed, grass seed in a crawl, single crawl, and that kind of stuff.
Is that what that turkey's doing right now?
Yeah, we stripping those seeds off that grass. They're set up in different areas and feature species in there. Quail, red cockade woodpeckers, or turkeys or something. And then that species guides your timber management, timber sales, and your prescribed burning, which is the two big things that's going to affect the habitat. See, and we adapt the prescribed burning and the timber sales, timber operations to that species habitat in that piece of land. Called featured species system. The depth that I was telling you about, we developed, and then that fringe, that perimeter fringe, see that fringe is connected to the net at intervals of 6 to 8 feet or something. And when you jump up against that net and raise it up, two more try to run out, they run into the bag. The bag caught about a third of the turkeys. Matthew, and you could put that net where you could walk all over.
Well, we hope you enjoyed it. Part 2 interview is coming up.